right, so we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll just add more people as they join. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. Hi. So my name's Casey Ferguson. I work at Chinook Middle School now. I used to work at Park, and now I work at Chinook. I've been teaching for 16 years, but we've been in Kennewick for 4, so we're just starting our 5th year. Let's see, and I have my co-host here, Kara. Go ahead and go on with it.
Hi, I'm Kara Suarez. I am a 7th grade ELA and Washington history teacher at Park. This is also my 5th year at Park, but also 5th year teaching. But I've been working with Casey for all those years, and so I've learned a lot of the technology through her, and Screencastify we've been using for a couple years. So that's me.
And that's one thing, we're both excited about Screencastify and what it can do for you and what it can do for your students, especially within asynchronous learning. And so we're excited to share some of the things that we've learned, both the good and the bad, as far as using Screencastify. There's a couple of things I want to get out of the way before we get started. So first, Kara and I are going to take turns presenting. And while one's presenting, the other one's going to monitor the chat. So just so that you guys know, a feature of Zoom used to be co-host. Right now that's not available, so there's only one host. So if you share a message or you have a question in the chat, and we encourage you to put your questions in the chat, please make sure that you address it to everyone. Otherwise, Kara won't see it. And so it's important that you address those questions to everyone so that we can all see it. The other thing that is important to know is that the format here is we're going to give you information, we're going to have you reflect on it, but then we're going to have you apply it. And so this isn't going to be where we sit and talk at you, because that's not fun for anyone. And so you're going to get an opportunity to practice some of these things. Now, a third thing that you need to know is we're meeting on Zoom, but we're talking about a video program. And so the problem is that when you're meeting on Zoom, you can't model how to use Screencastify in the recording phase when you're recording in Zoom. And we found that out the hard way. And so there are things that we're going to be able to show you on our own screens, but there's things within the video and within the video recording platform that we just can't show you. And so you're going to need to practice that on your own. I guess I had 5 things here. All right, 4th. I mentioned sharing a screen, and normally I like to have 2 screens available, but my 2nd screen has been kind of funky. And so before we get started into the presentation, I'll show you, if you don't know how to open another tab or split screen, I'll show you how to open another tab, which is one way that is comfortable for me in being able to go between presentation and go between workspace. The last thing, and this may be the most important, is that anything new or anything that you're not experienced with, it's messy. And you're going to make mistakes. And you're going to make mistakes a lot. And your kids are going to see those mistakes, and that's okay. So we encourage you, when you mess up, learn from it, move on. Don't be ashamed, because everybody has made those mistakes. And so I just don't want you to freak out when something goes wrong and just stop using it. So please just know learning is messy, and to just keep at it.
Also, on the when we go through the presentation, and I know last time people were like, whoa, that's too fast, we can't keep up. Don't worry, as we go, we're going to show you slides, but we'll stop and give you time to go through it all yourself. So don't think that we're expecting you to keep up with what we're doing right at that time. We promise we'll help you through it and give you time to do it.
Yep, if it's possible, there's going to be at least 2 exposures and hopefully 3. So you'll get it through the slides, then you'll get it through modeling, or you'll have a video of your own that you can watch, and then you'll also get it through practice. So it's not like we just talk at you and it's like, voila, you can do it. You're going to get some time to see it more. See it more than once. Okay? All right, are we ready, Kara?
Yes, ma'am.
So this presentation is shared with you as a PDF. You should have all of the links. You should have, you can go to the videos, you can go to the information, all of that is in there. The only reason we've shared it as a PDF is because if I share our slides with all of you, and all of you are on it, sometimes it slows things down. And so as a PDF, you have that document, and you don't have to wait for the slides to load, and it's not interfering quite so much with our activity. Okay. All right. And Kara, anything else that you want to add? Mainly because I forgot to enable the poll.
Okay. So one thing I was thinking of is on this, just knowing that like the process, the Screencastify, even though we're going to take you through all these steps, and even when I look at it and all the like the steps and the way we're trying to present everything that could come up for you, Screencastify is a very, very simple process. It really is only a few steps. So even if we front load a lot of information, I want everybody in the back of their head to know that it really is an easy program to use. I'm not the super techie person, and I make these little videos all the time. So yeah, it's an easy one to use.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get on. I think I've enabled the poll. So go ahead and select that link, and it should take you to something that looks like this. And basically we're trying to get a count. Have you already installed Screencastify? And so you're either selecting yes or no. And you can't even see my screen, can you?
We see your, just the first slide.
All right, I paused the sharing.
Oh.
See, learning is messy. Can you see it now?
Yes.
All right, so again, so you're on that second slide, you go to poll everywhere and see if, hopefully you're seeing this, and all you have to do is select yes or no. So now we're gonna get into your objectives for the day. And so basically the focus is we're gonna set up Screencastify, create at least one video, determine some share options, and then talk about editing. You'll also have about 30 to 35 minutes to practice different challenges that incorporate Screencastify. So we've heard about Screencastify. If you're not familiar with it, this is why you should use it. It's going to capture video and audio from multiple sources. You can use your document camera. It saves to Google Drive, which is a lifesaver. And there's minor editing tools available. Plus, you can share in a variety of ways. And they've just incorporated some new apps so you can app smash and share. It's a super powerful instructional tool for greetings, tutorials, parent information, and if you're really comfortable with your administration's permission, you can allow students to create. And again, we touched on this earlier, but our format is this. We're gonna share and you're gonna participate. You'll have an opportunity to reflect, and then you're going to practice. All right, Kara, are you ready?
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna go through and talk about how you're going to add, if you haven't already, how you're gonna add Screencastify, the extension, to your computer, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we are gonna go to, in your Google Chrome browser, so in the address bar, you are just gonna type in www.screencastify.com. And again, you don't have to do this right now. We will give you an opportunity to do it. And when you do this, you're gonna get a blue Add to Chrome button. It's free, and you will just push that Add to Chrome button. And then we'll have a page that looks like this, and it's where our extensions are, and we're just gonna go ahead and again, push the blue Add to Chrome button. Okay, and then of course, it's gonna verify, and if you've done these kind of things with your students on their Chromebooks, you'll see it's normal. You're going to add the extension. So where the green arrow is pointing to, you're gonna add that extension.
And this is important because it's giving Screencastify permission to communicate with websites. So this is really important because it's what allows you to record your screen. Okay, and so you will see the little, when you find your extension, there's like at the top, and you see where the green arrow is pointing to. That is the Screencastify icon. I always look at it as like an arrowhead, the little camcorder in the middle of the arrow.
that's where you're gonna find, and that's what you'll push when you're ready to record a video. All right, now it's gonna ask you how you wanna sign in, and we wanna definitely sign in with Google because that's gonna enable you to automatically save your videos into your Google Drive through your KSD account. We need to be logged on to our KSD Google accounts. That's super important. And it allows Screencastify to view and manage your files. And it's a really simple way that you'll see how they download into Google Drive. Okay, it's gonna have some pop-ups. It's gonna want you to allow permissions for things like your camera, your microphone, like drawing on the screen or annotations. You might have like your document camera hooked up or your embedded webcam, different microphones, or maybe you have a separate webcam you wanna use. It'll ask you to give permission for all of those. So you definitely wanna grant those permissions. Okay, on this one says the top one, Screencastify video recorded has requested additional permissions. You need this to allow so you can draw on websites with the annotation tools. So you'll have the ability, and I can see we have like a little scribble mark on our presentation. You will be able to do something like that on there, okay? And then you also, it says you need to grant permission, allow for screen video recorder. That's lets you use your webcam, and you definitely want to be able to hear your voice because you're going to be talking to your students. So you want to allow that. All right, this is the next thing. It's going to ask you to introduce yourself. So basically you're going to say you are an educator. You'll just select that on the screen. So you'll say, I am an educator. You teach in grade school. And then you're going to get a hooray, you're done. That's you. You're here.
All right, back to you, Kara.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about how we actually record these videos, okay? Oh, this is just a little example of my Bitmoji classroom I've been working on, and we just thought it was a good idea, or like kind of a fun idea. My virtual classroom, but if you click on this video, I use Screencastify to do a tour around my actual classroom. So you could just embed one of these Screencastifies. I just walked around with my laptop and gave a tour of my classroom. So it's just an idea of a way to use Screencastify. Okay, so you are going to be looking for, again, like I said, this little arrow that is our Screencastify app, okay? But first we need to say, how do you find it if it's not automatically pinned up on your toolbar at the top, okay? And we found, because we had trial and error, a place where you can find that if it's not up on your toolbar, okay? So we are gonna show, are you gonna show that video, Casey?
Yeah,
okay.
I can just show you right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if you can't find it in your Omnibar, you're just going to go up to the top of your screen. And can you see me pointing at my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll see this gray puzzle piece that says extensions. These are all of the extensions. And please don't laugh when you see all of the extensions I added. So once you click this, you will have a list of all of the extensions. And you'll notice we have Screencastify right here. And mine is pinned blue. What you are doing is you are pinning it up to your Omnibar, and you want to be able to see, and that will allow you to see it within your bar up here at the top. So if I select it now, you'll notice my icon disappeared. But when I hit that pin button again, it shows back up. So if you can't see it in your toolbar, you're going to that gray puzzle piece, clicking on it to find all of your extensions, and hitting the blue pin button. Oops. All right.
Okay. All right. So now when we get to recording, we're going to have several options of how we record our videos. The first one is webcam only. I would use webcam only if I'm making a video and I'm just talking to my students and I want them to see my face and nothing else, none of my screen, just looking at me, okay? So it captures camera and the microphone. And the next option is desktop. So what desktop does is it captures everything on my screen. So including things that happen outside of Chrome. So if I'm going to share multiple things, or I'm taking my students through like how to go to Google Classroom and then follow another link, or I want to show them a website or take them to YouTube, I want to show them my entire screen because that lets me open different tabs, okay? And also in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, your students will have a little video clip. They'll see you talking as well, but you can show them your entire screen. The other option is a browser tab. Browser tab is when you just want to show everything beneath the address bar. So it's like if you just have one tab open. If I was just going to work in like Google Classroom, the students wouldn't be able to see my toolbar and all of my extensions. So that's, if you just want to share one item, that's what you want to do. And those options, you will see, okay, so you can choose. So sometimes I might have my document camera hooked up. I have options with my webcam, integrated webcam. I also have an external webcam I might want to use, okay? So these arrows show you where, when you click on that little icon at the top to make a video, this is going to be your options you can choose from, okay? So you can see where the arrows are. The microphone, you may have different options. I right now, like if I were to run my computer, I only have my laptop option. You're going to select a camera. You might have your integrated webcam on your laptop, or a USB camera, or like I said, we can use your document camera as well. And then you have some options of countdown time for when you want the video to start. So when you push record, you can have a countdown for 3, 5, or 10 seconds. Usually I use 3 if I'm just doing a video on my computer, but maybe if I'm using my document camera and I'm going to be teaching at the front of the room, I would probably use 10 seconds to give myself more time to get adjusted.
And you're definitely going to want to take some time to play around with those microphone and camera settings if you have multiple options.
Yeah.
So for example, I have an external microphone and speaker, and it's really good when I'm interacting with people. But then when I go to record and I use it in Screencastify, it sounds really echoey. And so you're going to want to play around with your different settings if you have options so that you can see what is going to sound the best.
I also saw that Stephanie asked a great question, how do you attach your document camera? And I will show you. It's so simple. So I'll get to that here in just a few minutes. Okay, now if you want to share your desktop. So of course this is showing your entire screen plus you in the corner. So you would just select the middle button, desktop. So you'd select that, and the same thing, you're going to select which microphone, which webcam you want to use, and your countdown time. And you are also going to make sure it's allowing for you to use drawing tools and system audio. The drawing tools are nice when you want to annotate or highlight something on the screen to show your students. So that is all very similar.
Now, and as Kara mentioned, she mentioned the webcam, and because I have this clicked over, that's going to embed my webcam. If I were to hit it and turn it gray, then you would just show your desktop. You wouldn't have to have that webcam in the corner, but because I have it clicked, it would automatically show that webcam. So you have options both in browser tab and in desktop to include that webcam or take that picture out.
Okay. Again, similar, the browser tab is just going to show things below your address bar toolbar so that the student is only seeing the page that you're on, okay? So you would just choose that first option, browser tab, check your microphone, check which webcam before you do it, and then the same thing, your tools.
And this is a great one for any type of video that you want to record or want to play. This is great for that because it will include that sound.
Okay, so people that want to know about the document camera. I thought this was going to be more difficult, but it really wasn't. So what I found was that you just need a pretty, I mean, depending on how far away your camera is from your computer, but just a USB to USB cord. I found this cord, I don't even know what this is called, the first picture. I had one in a drawer and it worked. But a USB to USB would probably be the easiest. There's a port on your document camera, and you just put it into a USB port on whichever computer you are using. My desktop or my laptop, it worked with both. You want to make sure you turn on the document camera, have it powered on, and then when I went to select my camera, my luminous document camera popped up on my camera option. So it'll show on there, and then you can select it. So I took, and I can show you, I made a couple little videos with it, but basically like you can put your document camera up so you can be showing you at the front of the classroom. I did have to push like on the controller, like the rotate option. So because the video was upside down, so I turned it around that way. And I'll just show you a little bit. Oh, Casey, can you select that sample video, the first one?
Yeah, the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, I need access.
Oh, it's okay. I can fix that. It's not important. It's just showing I did a little presentation at the front of the room, and also like you can do notes. So like it'd be great too if you want to take notes with students under the document camera, you can record that, and that worked great too.
All right, so now you're ready to record. So before you get started in the chat, here's what we want to know. What are you most excited about? So if you're most excited about recording in browser tab, put a 1 in the chat. If you're most excited about recording in desktop, put a 2. And if you're most excited about putting or using the webcam, put a 3. So you guys have about 30 seconds. Go ahead and share what are you most excited to use in the chat. 2s, 1 and 3s. Very cool. And you guys are fast typers.
I like a lot of people are saying too, and the desktop, and I can see beyond, like, I see myself using this more even when students are back in class. So you're not having to constantly repeat yourself with kids that are absent, or running around the class trying to get 30 kids to understand. It's something that you can put on there and they can reuse it. And it's a resource for them to learn to start doing things for themselves too.
Yep, absolutely. And I used it when giving feedback. I could show their screen, but then if I wanted to send them to a video, I could click over to the video too. And that was really helpful when giving feedback. All right, so now we're gonna get started with recording. And this 3, 2, 1 is just a symbol. Like once your Screencastify is set up, if you want, you can make it so that you have the numbers popping up 3, 2, 1 on your screen. All right, so the first thing we're gonna take a look at, and before we get any further, now we're into that piece where we cannot show you what's inside Screencastify because we can't have Zoom and Screencastify on at the same time. So follow along, check it out. We'll have this, and then at the very end, there will be a video that you can watch if you need to see it again. So here we've got our annotation toolbar. So this is once your video is started and you're recording, you're gonna see this annotation toolbar, and it will be down at the very bottom left. And I'm realizing my slide presentation bar is coming up over the top. All right, so the very first thing you're gonna see is that you've got the play button or the pause, you've got stop, and then you've got that redo button. Then we're gonna be talking about the mouse. And there's 3 different features of the mouse, and they all have useful purposes within Screencastify. So first, you've got focus mouse, and it puts a spotlight wherever you want. So basically, your screen will turn gray, and wherever your mouse is, there's about a 1/2-inch circle that surrounds it. Then you can go to hides cursor, and hides cursor looks like that. And what happens is that you'll see your mouse until you stop moving the mouse, and then that mouse disappears. This is really nice for if you're referring to language or vocabulary and you go to a specific word and you want them to see it, but then you don't want that cursor bar in the way. And then that last one is highlight click. And this is my personal favorite because every time you click your mouse, a little red circle surrounds your mouse. And so you can see exactly where you're clicking. And you can also see how many times that you click. The next toolbar next to the mouse on the right is the pen tool. And so the pen tool is pretty simple to use. You select the tool, you can select the color, and then you begin annotating. It is a little bit limited because you can't select like the intensity or the vibrancy of it. So you can't fade the color in and out. You can't determine the size, things like that. But it is really handy if you're wanting to draw attention to something in particular. The example here I had when I was messing around with it was I circled what that success criteria included so that they could see it. But what if you don't like what you write? And so there are two options for erase. And the first one is a spot erase. And that spot erase, all you have to do is select the eraser button right next to the pen, between the pen and the camera, and hit it. And then you can go wherever you want. So in this case, this is where I was spot erasing, where the circle is, and you can see that I made a slash through it. And so you don't have to clear your whole screen. You can erase just a small piece. However, what if you want to completely clear your page? That's really easy too. You'll see here over on the right, I have that eraser button selected. If I hit this box right here, it clears the screen magically. And so you don't have to go in and individually erase each piece. And so that's a great tool when you're wanting to clear out the screen. And then we have next to the eraser button is the embed camera. So even if you start your recording without your camera embedded, you can go ahead and add that camera within the recording. So you can change your mind or change your settings within the recording. All you have to do is select that webcam button and it pops up. The great thing is too, say you are recording and you started with your webcam on and you decided you didn't want it, you can select that button again and the webcam disappears. And so this is really great when you want to move from like what is on your screen being your priority to you want the students to focus on what you're saying to them and seeing your face as you say it to them, and then move back and forth. So it's great when your focus moves from the activity to your words. All right, so what we were just talking about was that annotation bar. Now we're heading into the extension bar, and the extension bar is at the top. So the extension bar is what you will hit when you hit the Screencastify button at the very top. So you'll see right here, we've got my Screencastify icon. The little dot on there is showing that I'm recording in this image. And so when I hit that while I'm recording, this tab is going to show up. And there's 5 features and they all have different purposes, but they're very important. We're gonna start down here at the bottom with the trash can. You're recording a video, you don't like it, you know it, and you know you don't like it, you can just hit the trash button. So recording is done, move on to something else. But what if you still want a recording, you just don't want that recording? Then you go to this arrow. This arrow right here deletes what you just did, but then it automatically starts you recording again. You'll get your countdown right away. So there's no going back and selecting multiple buttons and selecting multiple settings. All you have to do if you had something you didn't like is hit this arrow, it deletes it, and you start recording again. Now, this button right here, it's the pause button. We know what pause does, but again, within your video, all you have to do, say you are presenting something, maybe you forgot forgot a paper or forgot some of your notes, you hit pause, you go get what you need, you come back, and then you hit play again, and then you can continue with the recording. This is a feature that I do not use enough because I make all sorts of mistakes, but this can be a really powerful tool. We mentioned before, you're gonna make mistakes and that's gonna happen, but by being able to pause the recording and get yourself together or do what you need to do and then start again, you're saving yourself a lot of time. The last one, of course, is stop recording. When you're done with your recording, every time, this is the button you'll hit, which is to stop. Now, Those are all super important, but some of you are probably saying to yourself, when I'm done, where do I find those recordings? Well, here's one place that you're going to find them, right up here where these 3 lines are. This is where you're going to manage your recordings as well as manage your account. These 3 lines take you to the main hub of everything. So you'll be able to manage recordings, you'll be able to manage your account, you'll be able to go into editor, you'll be able to get some training videos. All of that is going to be within those 3 lines. And that is your extension bar. So the first one we were talking about is the annotations within. This is the extension bar that helps you with finishing up your video. Now, as we mentioned before, the great thing about Screencastify is it saves to your Google Drive. And if you're familiar with Google Classroom or other Google apps, you know that when you sign up and you give those permissions for Google Drive, it creates a folder within your Google Drive. And so you have already given permission to create that folder that says Screencastify. In your Screencastify folder is where every video that you save goes to. So if you can't find your video, or if you're done and you want to go find your video, you go into your Google Drive, you look for the Screencastify folder, and all of your videos will be in there. So here's what happens when you're done. So it saves automatically to Google Drive. It gives you a shareable link, and there's 5 different options. We'll talk about those in a moment, for how you can share just straight from your Google Drive. So you'll hit this blue button, copy the shareable link, and then when you hit this arrow right here where it's saying private right now, then you will have more options drop down. And then you can also view your video right in your Google Drive. All right, so those shareable link options that we talked about, they're basically privacy setting options. You've got public, unlisted, and private. Those are the basic ones, but KSD has done something awesome in that we can also make things public just within KSD. So if you look right here, it says public at KSD. That means anybody can look at it as long as they have a KSD.org account. So initially public was anybody, anywhere could find that video, but now we have public just within KSD, and so you can open it up to public, but only within KSD. You have unlisted at KSD, which means anybody with the link can view it, but only if they have a KSD account, or you've got regular unlisted that anybody, anywhere can look at it as long as they have the link. And then of course you've got public, which is open to everybody, and private, no matter what, which is only you can view. And so those options are new that weren't available before. All right, I know there was a lot of information, and if you need to review some of it, you can go back into the slides, or you can check out this video that shows you how to do it within an actual Screencastify video. But we're going to go ahead and move on. I do see we do have a question. Lisa says, if we want parents to view, do we need to post as public? You can post, what I would do is post it as unlisted, not unlisted KSD, but posted just unlisted. So they have to at least have the link. If you're okay with it being made available to everybody, then go for it. You can post it as public. But for me, I like it to be unlisted. Like, it's viewable as long as I send you the link. But it's really your preference.
Casey, do you want to go to slide 29 and show that little video of like actually like the process in one?
This one?
Yeah, because that video will show like what it looks like to actually go through the recording process.
Yeah. Without annotations.
Okay. Hopefully it works.
I'm gonna, sorry, my toolbar's in the way. See if I can. I don't know if you can see this.
I can see, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's okay. People can watch it if they need to see how to do it.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't think about that.
It's okay.
All right, so you are going to get a little bit of time, and just, we'll go back to where we were at. All right, so now we're going to get into We Do. And so here's what you're going to do. And you'll have about 15 minutes and we'll show you how this is going to work. I'm going to send you to breakout rooms. If you've been a part of Zoom, you have probably done breakout rooms before, but these breakout rooms are going to be a little bit different. In those breakout rooms, you're going to be all by yourself. So I just want to clarify that because there has been some confusion. Instead of having 3 or 4 people in your room, it's just going to be you. And here's why. We want you to be able to create a Screencastify video, and we want you to be able to post it into a Google form. And so you're going to go into your second screen, create a Screencastify reflection video talking about 2 ways that you can use Screencastify and how it might impact learning. We also want you to discuss any barriers that you might have and how you can overcome them. We know there's going to be issues, and we can talk about those issues, but there's not going to be any growth until we start coming up with a plan to overcome those issues. So you're going to head into your breakout room, go into your Screencastify, and record any type of Screencastify video that you want, but we want you talking about how you can use Screencastify, how it has an impact, and talk about those barriers. When you are done recording that video, you're going to go over here to the success criteria on this page. There's a little red, it says here, and you're going to open that up. And in here, you're going to share apparently your email address and your name, but then you have 2 ways that you can share your Screencastify reflection. You can either add the file through your Google Drive, or you can copy that Screencastify link and paste it right here and then submit it. So you don't have to do both, you just have to pick one, okay? So once you are done with that, we're going to send you to some challenges where you can play around with different ways to use Screencastify. So there's a lot here. You're going to reflect in your breakout room. You're going to share your reflection on this document where it's red and says here. Once you are done with that, we'll send you in your PDF, you can move forward on the slides, and there's going to be some challenges where you can try different ways of using Screencastify. Now, this challenge is also a PDF. So all you do is select Start, and it will take you to a bunch of different ways that you could try using Screencastify. If you see one that you like, then use it. If you don't see one you like, so maybe narrating Google Slides is not your thing, that's fine. Skip it and look for some other options. Okay, so you'll have ways that you can use it. There's some videos, it tells you where the information comes from, and it's actually hyperlinked so you can go into more resources. But we know as teachers that you don't do things until you practice them and feel confident in them. And so we're going to be giving you time to practice recording a reflection and sharing it, and trying different types of Screencastify challenges to familiarize yourself with using a webcam, using the desktop recorder, or using the tab recorder. All right. I know that was a lot of information, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to make sure you had everything before I sent you to the breakout rooms. Now, don't think Kara and I are just going to be sitting over here eating bonbons and stuff. If you need help, in your breakout room, down at the very bottom is a tab that says Ask for Help. Hit that Ask for Help button. That will pop up, and then we can answer any questions. We'll join your breakout room and answer any questions that you need. Okay? So I'm looking at the time. It is 9:46. How about we meet back at 10:30? That sound good, Kara?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, so I'm going to send you to your breakout rooms. Really, really, really take advantage of this time to try things that you haven't tried before. And so we're working, if you're looking at numbers, we're working through slides 42 through 45. All right, 42 through 45. And I'm going to set up those breakout rooms now.
Have
Let's
fun
see
with
if I
it.
can. The great thing is you can set the timer, but I keep forgetting to set the time in the timer. So we're hearing that there were a lot of successes. There were some failures. I don't know if you guys noticed, myself got kicked out of Zoom for about 10 minutes. So we all have technical difficulties. So if you have questions about things that were happening or things that you could get to work or couldn't get to work, please feel free to ask them in the chat, or you can hold on and at the very end, we should have time to go ahead and address some of those questions that you might have. We're going to go into some editing features and talk about sharing, but before we do that, it came up multiple times and it made us realize that we were remiss in sharing, is that many of you saw that there's a 5-minute limit in presenting or recording, and it didn't dawn on us to share, but the great thing is KSD is purchasing premium accounts for everybody, all the teachers in the district. So hopefully within the next week that will be able to be calibrated, and so you will be able, and that purchase will go through, and you will have a full premium version of Screencastify, which is going to include unlimited amount of recording. It's also going to give you access permanently to that editor piece, which is really important. If you've clicked on the editor button there, I believe right now it's the offer is 3 days free of that premium editor, and then you go back to basic. But once you get that premium version, you'll have access to the editor full time. Okay. All right, so we're going to go in, and since we're talking about editing, we're going to talk about editing features. Let me get going. I got all sorts of tabs open right now. All right, Kara, once it loads.
All right. So I am only familiar with the basic editing because I don't have the full version. Casey will go over those with you in a little bit. But one of the things we want to do is when you have your video, you can see that gray box, premium editing features coming soon. That just means it'll give you that open in editor option that it's pointing to. That's when you have the premium version, and that's where you can do a lot of the editing. But we can start with the simple editing, which is like we're going to start by renaming our video and a couple little things we can do with it. Okay, so in the box, where the arrow is pointing to, that's where we're going to choose what we're going to name our video so that it'll be organized in our drive and easy to find. So you'll highlight the title and delete it from the box, and then just rename it. Just put in whatever you want it to be called.
And I just want to point out on this video, it's not that I don't know how to spell success. I was trying to show you that I was in the midst of titling it.
Uh-huh. All right, and then the other thing, we will have lightning trim function. So in this version, the free version, you have draggable scissors from both sides, like the green arrows are pointing to. And that way you can clip your video. And you just drag it to how far you want it clipped. I generally look really goofy the first few minutes of my video because I'm like trying to figure out what I'm going to click. So I usually get rid of that first few seconds where I look ridiculous. And the same at the end when I'm trying to fumble to find where the end button is. So you can crop those. Okay. So in order to save your trim, so wherever you bring your scissors in to clip your video down to get rid of your silly faces, and then you're just going to find the blue Save Trim button, and then it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to trim your original video and save it that way? You say, go ahead and trim, and it'll replace your original video. So you want to make sure that you trim in the right spot so you don't miss something you wanted on the video.
Yep. And that will save it in your Google Drive.
Okay.
All right, so now we're going to talk about those advanced editing features. So you can access it in a couple of ways. So as we mentioned, Screencastify is creating a folder that says Screencastify within your Google Drive. And so you can go into Google Drive, search Screencastify, and every video you've created will show up in that folder. When you find the video that you want, you click it, and just like you would, like if you're converting a Word file or a PowerPoint in Google Drive and it asks you if you want to open in all these different versions, when you have a video, it will ask if you want to open it in Screencastify Video Editor. So that's one way to get to Editor. Another way is you can type in the link down below, and it's like editor.screencastify.com, or it's something along those lines. I don't have, it's hyperlinked. Edit.screencastify.com will take you to that editing feature. So you can do that as well. But the easiest way is just where you saw that open in editor button. It allows you to go straight to that editor. All right. So there's several things that you can do with the editor version. In this case, you can add multiple videos. So the great thing about editor is that you don't just have to have access to editing your Screencastify videos. You can have access to editing any video. And so, for example, I did a Zoom recording yesterday. I imported all of the Zoom downloads into Screencastify, and then I was able to go ahead and edit my videos through Screencastify. The other thing that you can do is you can merge multiple videos, and you can import videos from your computer. So if you don't have something saved on Google Drive and you just want to add it from your computer, you can do that. And the way to add videos is to just go to the plus button and then choose where you want to import your videos from and add those videos to your timeline. And down here underneath this line, this timeline, is where your videos will go. Now, once you have videos selected, there might be some portions you want to delete. All you have to do is click on the video link or video clip, and then you'll notice my video clip is outlined in yellow. And if it's something you want to delete, you just click that clip and hit trash. Or you can press a delete on the keyboard. I need to fix that. But you can, if you don't want to click the trash, you can hit delete. All right. So you can also cut and rearrange clips. So if you didn't like the order that you presented things and you thought perhaps you should rearrange that order, you can do that within the video. All you do, again, you click on the link, that yellow line will come around, hover your mouse where you want to clip it and move it, like you're gonna cut it, and then you can just drag it to where it belongs. You can also use the scissors icon to cut things short. So if you want to edit it, or if you have a long, like a 5-minute video and you want to cut 2 minutes out of the middle, you select where you want that cut to start, hit the scissors, go to where you want that cut to end, hit the scissors again, and then you can move it where you want it to. All right, within editor, you can also crop. So in order to crop, you're going to click on the video that you want to crop. You're going to click that crop icon, and then in the video image, you will select where you want to start and hit the mouse. And once you do, you can drag which dimensions or your desired dimensions, and then all you have to do at the end is select done. The big thing to remember with cropping is that when you're cropping in editor, only those clips that you have selected to be cropped will be cropped. None of the other clips outside of that will be affected. You can also add text to a clip. And this looks just like, Word. It looks like Google Docs. All you have to do to add text to a video clip is you hit the text icon where the T is, type the text that you want to add, and then click away and it will save the text. And if you want to bold, italicize, change the font, the color, how it's centered, you can do that as well. In order to change the position of a text clip, all you have to do is drag and drop the sides. So if the timing of the text clip, you just have to drag and drop the sides. So if your video or if your text is set to play for about 10 seconds, and you want to extend it for 20 seconds, you can just select the side and drag it out for as long as you need it to. These are pretty self-explanatory, but they're really, really nice, especially here. So you can undo your actions, and this is going to work for as many times as you have selected it. So if you make 15 different changes and then realize you want to go back, you can hit as many times as you need to get back to where you're ready to go. And it's the same with redo. And then once you have made all of the editing changes, you're going to go to the button that says export here at the very top. Once you're in export, it's going to ask you to do two things. Select MP4 to save it to your computer or Google Drive. So you get to choose whether you want to save it to the computer or to the drive. For me, I usually just save it to the drive because then I have access anywhere on any device, but you can choose to save to your computer if you want. And then, of course, don't forget to title your video, and your video will begin processing. Now, once you do that, it will allow you to click on the link in order to process or grab the link for where the video is at, but it will not allow you to watch the video until it's done processing. And here's something that's really important too. If you're exporting to Google Drive, you can view that video in the Google Drive just by once you select the done screen. And any videos exported through MP4 are just going to save to your downloads. And just like we talked before, if you need to see all that again or see it in action because me talking about it didn't do it for you, that's okay. You can check out this video. Now we're going to get into sharing options. All right, so when you are done and you've edited your video, it's saved in your Google Drive and you're ready to share, you have a couple of ways that you can share. So first off, you'll see over here on the right-hand side of the screen is we've got that original link that we talked about, copy with shareable link, but now we're going to talk about those share features. And the default options are Google Classroom, YouTube, and get an embed code. All right, when you are sharing, and the first option is Google Classroom. So all you do is you select that share to Google Classroom, and then you can create actual assignments. You can create a question with that video, you can make an announcement, or you can create material. The great thing about creating assignments through this is that you can attach that video as an assignment, and then you go through all of the same Google Classroom settings that you would see if you were actually creating that assignment within Google Classroom. And then kids can turn work in through that assignment. When you share to YouTube, this is a really great way to share, especially if you're wanting to share with parents or you're sharing outside of KSD. There are two caveats. One, you need a YouTube account and you need a YouTube channel. However, once you have those things, again, you can select those three main privacy sharings. You can select private, where only you can view. You can select public, where anybody can search for it and find it and view. Or you can select unlisted, where only those with the link can view. My personal favorite tends to be unlisted, where anybody who needs it can have it, but I have to share that link with them. And so that's my favorite, but it's really whatever your personal preference is. Now you can also share with an embed code. This is really great if you're wanting to embed your video within, like, say, a Google site, maybe within a Google form, but this embed code will give you that link to where you can embed it and people can see that video right within that site. In all honesty, I don't use this very often, but it could be a really valuable feature if in your classrooms if you have the right setup. There are a couple of other options that are preloaded. So if you go down to the bottom after you've looked at embed code, classroom, and publish to YouTube, it says that you can have more options. And those preset options are share to Gmail or send an email. They are and generate QR code. here's the thing. KSD doesn't use Gmail, so the send to email doesn't really work. It's not approved by KSD, so you're not really going to use that option. The other one is just generating a QR code. You can copy it and paste it, or you can download it to your computer. And then there are a couple more options, especially I know Edpuzzle is something that a lot of people are interested in using, where you have videos and then you can add questions into the Edpuzzle about that video wherever you want. So the great thing is Screencastify is now app smashing with Edpuzzle, so you can send your video straight to Edpuzzle. I'm a big fan of Wakelet, where I can curate my video resources, so you can send them to Wakelet. And new is also Remind. I believe that the district is going to purchase licenses so everybody can use Remind. And so you can send videos directly through Remind as well. And all of those, all you have to do is select the add more and then select which ones work for you. If you don't use Edpuzzle or Wakelet or Remind, don't select those options and you don't have to. Once you do, and you can see which ones that I tend to use the most are YouTube and Wakelet. Those top three are going to show that you use most frequently will show at the top. There are also download options. So if you want to download to your computer, you've got a couple of ways that you can do that, and that is right below the share button. So you can download as an MP4, you can export as an MP4, you can export audio only, or you can export as an animated GIF. So you can, if you don't want to save it to your drive or send it out to one of those apps, you can just download it to your computer. All right, so what now? Are you ready to share? If you want, you can post one of your videos that you worked on here. If you don't, that's fine too. Before we move on, I want you to think, what is it that you learned about Screencastify? So what do you like? What do you not like? Was it easy or hard? I want you to take about 2 minutes to think about that and really internalize it. And the reason I ask you to do that is because when we reflect on something and think about how it worked and what we can envision it in our lives and how we would use it, then we're more likely to go forward and actually use it. So I want you to think about what it is you liked and didn't like, what was easy and hard. And if you are comfortable with sharing that, go ahead and post those in the chat. And we'll give you about 2 minutes to reflect. That's funny, Melissa.
Yeah, I'm looking at comments, and it is kind of tricky at first to get used to where the buttons are. That's why I said I learned to crop the ends, because when I look awkward doing that. But the more and more you make them, it just becomes more, you just kind of know where they're at, and it's a little easier as you practice.
Yeah. It's so funny looking and reflecting on what other people are talking about because I feel like those are the same reflections that we went through ourselves.
Hmm. And then also I've been seeing people talk about like it's uncomfortable to see yourself on the
Mhm.
camera. Depending on what grade you teach though, like Casey and I did some fun stuff. Like we dressed in disguises and we put sunglasses on and put wigs and hats, and the kid, you know, it gets the kids more interested in watching because they're like, "What is she up to?" And it kind of gives you a little like break from seeing all your face. So it's kind of fun to play around with that stuff.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to, if you're still reflecting and you want to post your reflections in the chat, that's awesome. You can keep doing that. I'm happy to answer questions. We've got quite a bit of time left, about 10 minutes left. So now's going to be a great time to respond to questions. So if you have a question, please do that. I'm also going to post the clock hour claim code. So when you are done, or if you want to go in and claim your clock hours and maybe give us some feedback so we know what we did well and what we can continue to work on, that would be awesome. But let me post this code. You can still post your reflections, and then we're here to answer questions. So please, if you've got questions, feel free to stay and ask them. And if you don't, you're free to go.